I was 22 when my world went black on a stage in front of thousands, and the first thing I saw when I opened my eyes wasn't a familiar face. It was a vacation photo. My name is Elena, and I'd spent 4 years being the reliable one. 4 years of perfect grades and part-time jobs and showing up for everyone else. The diagnosis came while I was still unconscious, a brain tumor pressing against my skull. Think about that for a moment. Imagine waking up from emergency surgery, groggy and terrified, and reaching for your phone only to see your entire family smiling in front of the Eiffel Tower. No worried texts, no frantic calls, just champagne and croissants and hashtags. That was my reality. 2 weeks before graduation, I'd stood in my mother's kitchen flipping through wedding magazines. Not for my wedding, of course. My sister Chloe had just gotten engaged, and the household had transformed into a command center for her impending nuptials. "Can you pick up the invitations from the printer tomorrow?" Mom asked without looking up from a swatch of lace. "I have finals, Mom, you always manage." Elena, that was the refrain of my entire childhood. The reliable one always manages. I'd been managing for years, working 30 hours a week at a bookstore while maintaining a near-perfect GPA. My scholarships and tips paid for everything. Chloe's education, meanwhile, had been a no-questions-asked family investment. I tried to bring up graduation. "I need something to wear for the ceremony. Maybe we could go shopping this weekend?" "You're so good at finding deals online," she said. "The engagement party is in 2 weeks. Everything needs to be perfect." I nodded. I always nodded. Later that evening, I heard her on the phone. "Oh, she's valedictorian. Can you believe it?" But honestly, the timing is terrible with Chloe's engagement. Grace understands. She's always been so independent. Independent, the polite word for forgettable. I called the only person who truly saw me, my grandfather Arthur. He picked up on the second ring. "Elena, I was just thinking about you." For 20 minutes, I told him about finals, my speech, the terror of speaking in front of thousands. "Do you have your dress?" he asked. "Do you need anything?" "I'm fine, Grandpa." "You'd tell me if you weren't?" He paused. "Your grandmother would be so proud. She always said you had her spirit. I never met my grandmother. She'd passed before I was born. But everyone said I had her eyes, her stubborn jawline. Some people need love like oxygen. Others treat it like a luxury." 1 week before graduation, I was running on 4 hours of sleep, 3 cups of coffee, and pure determination. My head had been pounding for days. Stress, I told myself. It was always stress. Mom called while I was closing the shop. "We need you this weekend. Chloe's engagement party requires setup. I'm working. Call in sick. Your sister needs you." "What about what I need?" Silence. Then, "Don't be dramatic." That night, I had a nosebleed that lasted 20 minutes. I ignored it. Have you ever had a physical symptom that you knew deep down was a warning sign, but you pushed through anyway because there was no time to stop? That was me. I was so conditioned to keep going that I couldn't recognize when my own body was screaming for help. Rachel, my best friend since freshman orientation, showed up unannounced. She took one look at me and frowned. "When's the last time you actually slept?" Define slept. "Elena, you're destroying yourself for people who won't even show up for you." They're coming to graduation. It's my graduation. She gave me a look. In 4 years, they haven't come to a single award ceremony. Not one. I didn't have a response. The engagement party was a blur of champagne and white lights. I spent 6 hours arranging flowers and refilling glasses. Chloe held court near the fountain, Tyler's arm around her waist. "This is my little sister," she announced to a circle of guests. "Grace does everything around here. Seriously, I don't know what we'd do without her." Scattered applause. Polite smiles. "She's so good at helping," Chloe added. "She's going to be a teacher." Can you imagine? Wiping noses for a living. Laughter. Dismissive laughter. "Valedictorian," I said quietly. "Right, that," she waved a hand. "She's always been the smart one." But smart doesn't buy Louis Vuitton. I excused myself to the kitchen, leaned against the counter, and breathed. Through the window, I noticed an older man watching the scene. Mr. Henderson, Grandpa's former colleague. His expression was unreadable. My phone buzzed. An unknown number. "Your grandfather should know how your family treats you." I looked up. "Mr." Henderson raised his glass slightly in my direction, then turned away. That moment has haunted me ever since. A complete stranger saw more clearly than my own family. He recognized the injustice in a single evening, while my parents had spent 22 years looking right through me. After the party, Mom found me doing dishes. "I have wonderful news. We're going to Paris. The whole family. Tyler's treating us to celebrate the engagement." "Paris? When?" "Next Saturday. We fly Friday night." Friday night. Graduation was Saturday morning. "Mom, my graduation is Saturday." "I know, sweetie, but the flights were already booked." "You're missing my graduation for a vacation." "Don't say it like that. It's not just a vacation. It's for your sister. I'm valedictorian. And you'll be wonderful. You don't need us there. You've always been so self-sufficient." Dad appeared in the doorway, unable to meet my eyes. "Your mother and I discussed it. Chloe needs family support right now, and graduating valedictorian isn't a big life change. You're strong," he said. "You don't need us the way your sister does." I left without another word. In my car, I sat in the darkness for 10 minutes before driving home. Let that sink in. My parents were actively choosing a vacation over witnessing their daughter deliver a valedictorian speech, the culmination of 4 years of blood, sweat, and tears. And they didn't even hesitate. 3 days before graduation, I was lying on my apartment floor because getting up felt impossible. Rachel's voice crackled through speakerphone. "They're skipping your graduation for a vacation?" "It's for Chloe's engagement. Stop making excuses for them, Elena. I'm just accepting reality." I stared at a water stain shaped like a broken heart. Fitting, that night, I woke at 3 and with the worst headache of my life. The pain was so intense, I whimpered. In the bathroom, blood dripped into the sink. My nose wouldn't stop bleeding. I sat on the cold tile floor for 20 minutes, waiting. I looked at myself in the mirror. Dark circles, hollow cheeks. I didn't recognize my own face. I should see a doctor. But graduation was in 3 days, and I had a speech to memorize. Grandpa called the day before graduation. "Are you ready for tomorrow?" "As ready as I'll ever be. I'm leaving tonight, staying at a hotel near campus. I want to be there early." "You don't have to." "I want to. And I have something to give you. Something your grandmother wanted you to have." "What is it?" "You'll see tomorrow. Just know that your grandmother and I have always believed in you." He paused. "Did your father ever tell you I offered to help with your tuition?" "No. He always said you couldn't afford to help both of us." "Tomorrow. We'll talk tomorrow." I hung up more confused than before. The weight of that phone call stayed with me through the night. What had my father hidden from me? What secrets had been buried for 2 decades? Graduation morning. I woke to a pounding headache and a text from Mom, just landed in Paris. Have a great graduation, sweetie. So proud of you. Attached was a selfie of the whole family at the airport. Chloe was pouting for the camera. Dad was giving a thumbs up. Mom was smiling like she didn't have a care in the world. I didn't respond. Rachel picked me up, took one look at me, and frowned. Elena, you're gray. I'm nervous. She forced me to eat half a granola bar while she drove. I managed 3 bites. On campus, families were everywhere. Balloons, flowers, proud parents. I tried not to look at them. In the staging area, I checked my phone. Another text from Mom, send pics. We want to see everything. I was about to put my phone away when I noticed something on the emergency contact form I'd filled out freshman year. On impulse, I added a line, secondary contact, Arthur Donovan, grandfather. Then I saw him. Grandpa in the front row, already waiting, a manila envelope in his hands. I waved. He waved back. For the first time all week, I felt like I could breathe. Elena Donovan. The name echoed through the speakers. Our valedictorian. I walked to the podium. The stage lights were blinding. 3,000 people. I found Grandpa in the crowd. He was beaming. Rachel sat beside him, phone out, recording. 2 empty seats beside them, reserved for family. No one claimed them. Thank you for being here today, I began. I stand before you, not just because of grades or test scores, but because of the people who believed in me. Something was wrong. The stage tilted. My vision narrowed. Pain exploded behind my eyes. White, hot, blinding, I saw Grandpa's face, confusion turning to horror. I saw Rachel standing up. I saw the 2 empty seats. Then I saw nothing. My body hit the stage floor with a sound I'll never forget. People were screaming, "Call 911. Someone call her family." Rachel's voice, shaking. "Grace, can you hear me?" Grandpa's hand gripping mine. "I'm here, sweetheart, I'm here. The last thing I heard before everything went black, we're calling her parents now." They won't answer, I thought. Then I was gone. This part I didn't witness. Rachel told me later. The ambulance took 14 minutes. I was unconscious. The doctors moved fast, CT scan, MRI, their faces growing grimmer with each result. Brain tumor, pressing on the frontal lobe. Surgery needed immediately. Rachel pulled out my phone. First call to my parents. Voicemail. Second voicemail. Third voicemail. "Please," she begged into the phone. "Elena is in the hospital. It's an emergency. Call us back." Nothing. Grandpa tried next. Called his son directly. My father picked up on the 5th ring. "Dad, we're at the airport. About to board. Elena collapsed. She has a brain tumor. She's in surgery in 40 minutes. Silence. Then my father's voice, strangely calm. "Dad, we're about to take off. Can you handle things? We'll call when we land." Rachel said Grandpa's face turned to stone. "Your daughter is about to have emergency brain surgery," he said slowly. "And you're asking me to handle it? Dad, the flight is 12 hours. By the time we get back, she'll be out anyway. If you get on that plane," Grandpa said, "don't bother calling me again." They got on the plane. All of them. Grandpa signed the consent forms as my emergency contact. When they wheeled me into surgery, I had 2 people waiting, my grandfather and my best friend. My family was 30,000 feet in the air, choosing Paris over me. I woke up 3 days later. White ceiling, white walls, white sheets. Grandpa asleep in a chair beside me, still wearing his suit from graduation. Rachel was curled up on a cot in the corner, dark circles under her eyes. I tried to speak. My throat was sandpaper. Rachel stirred, saw me. She was at my bedside in seconds. "Oh my God, Elena," Grandpa woke. His face crumbled with relief. "My girl, my brave girl. What happened?" They exchanged a look, the kind that told me something was very wrong. "Brain tumor," Rachel said carefully. "They removed it. You're going to be okay. 3 days." "You've been unconscious for 3 days." I turned my head, saw my phone on the nightstand. My parents? Another exchanged look. "Grace, maybe you should wait," but I was already opening Instagram, and there it was, a photo of my entire family in front of the Eiffel Tower. The caption, "Family trip in Paris." Finally, no stress, no drama. #blessed, #family time. 247 likes, 32 comments, all gushing. Not one mention of me. Not one. I closed the app. I didn't cry. I didn't have the energy left. Let me pause here. Imagine waking up from brain surgery. Imagine the disorientation, the fear, the vulnerability. And imagine reaching for connection, for the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally, and finding a vacation photo instead. That level of betrayal doesn't just hurt. It reshapes everything you thought you knew about love. 4 days after surgery, I was getting stronger. The tumor was benign. They'd caught it just in time. Grandpa visited every day. Rachel practically lived in my room. The nurses knew them both by name. That evening, Grandpa fell asleep in his chair. Rachel went home to shower. I was alone with my thoughts. My phone lit up. 1 missed call from Dad. 5 missed calls. 20, 65. Then the texts. "Grace, call me back." "Important. Grace, answer your phone." "Grace, this is urgent." "What did you do?" "Dad is freaking out." Not one asked how I was. Not one said they were sorry. Just, "We need you. Answer immediately." I showed Grandpa when he woke. His face darkened. "They know," he said quietly. "Know what? There's something I need to tell you about why they're really calling." "What do you mean?" He took a deep breath. "It's because I told them about the gift. Your grandmother's gift. They just realized what they might lose." "Grandpa, what gift?" He pulled his chair closer. 22 years ago, when you were born, your grandmother and I opened an education savings account in your name. For college? Not exactly. A graduation gift. Seed money for your future. Your grandmother called it your freedom fund. How much? Enough to buy a small house. Or start a business. Or put a down payment on whatever dreams you had. But Dad told me you didn't have money to help with tuition, that you could only help Chloe because your father asked for money for both your educations. I wrote 2 checks, one for you, one for Chloe. Then, where did my money go? He showed me a photo, a bank statement, 2 withdrawals on the same day 4 years ago. They put Chloe's portion toward her tuition. And yours? I thought about their new kitchen renovation. Mom's designer bags, the vacation fund they always seemed to have. They spent it, I whispered. And this freedom fund. They didn't know about it. I never told them. I knew, even back then, that they treated you differently. This money was always meant to bypass them entirely. Directly to you on graduation day. But now they know. I told your father when you were in surgery. I was angry. I said if he didn't come home, I'd make sure you received everything. That's why they're calling. Can you feel the weight of that realization? They weren't calling because they loved me. They weren't calling because they were worried. They were calling because my grandfather had just revealed a financial secret that threatened their access to my inheritance. I wasn't their daughter at that moment. I was a bank account. They arrived the next afternoon. I heard them before I saw them. Mom's heels clicking down the corridor, her voice too loud. Which room? Donovan. Elena Donovan. Rachel stood up. I should go. Stay. The door burst open. Mom swept in first. Grace, baby. We came as fast as we could. She leaned down to hug me. I didn't hug back. You came as fast as you could, I repeated. 5 days after I nearly died. The flights were fully booked. Instagram says you posted from the Louvre yesterday. Mom's face flickered. We were trying to make the best of a difficult situation. Dad entered behind her. He looked tired. He couldn't meet my eyes. Chloe followed, shopping bags in hand, actually carrying shopping bags into a hospital room. Hey, Grace, you look better than I expected. Rachel made a sound in the corner. I didn't look at her, but I could feel her rage. Chloe, I had brain surgery. I know. That's so crazy, right? She set down her bags. Anyway, we cut the trip short, so you're welcome. Mom cleared her throat. Grace, we should talk as a family. Privately, Rachel stayed. Grace was here when I woke up. She held my hand before surgery. She stays. Grandpa entered. The temperature dropped. I see you finally found time in your schedule. We love Grace, Mom said. You love what Grace does for you. There's a difference. The family you need isn't always the one you were born into. The conversation that followed was more honest than anything we'd ever had. Mom finally said it out loud. You want to know why I've always kept my distance, Grace? Because every time I look at you, I see her. Eleanor, your grandmother. The woman who spent 30 years making me feel like I wasn't good enough. She was crying now. The first time I came to this family, she looked at me like I was dirt. 26 years of snide comments, 26 years of never being enough, and then she died. I thought, finally, I can be accepted. But then, you were born. And you looked exactly like her. Same eyes, same stubborn chin. I sat there in silence. My mother had kept her distance for 22 years because I had my grandmother's face, a woman I'd never even met. Mom, I understand now. You had a painful relationship with Grandma. That hurt you. I paused, but that is not my fault. For 22 years, I tried so hard. Perfect grades, 3 jobs. I showed up for every event, every holiday, every crisis. I did all of it because I thought if I tried hard enough, they would finally see me. Finally love me the way they love Chloe. I was wrong. You were never going to see me. You were always going to see her. I turned to my father. And you watched this happen for 22 years. You chose the path of least resistance, and that path meant sacrificing me. I failed you, he said quietly. Yes, you did. I took a breath. I don't hate any of you, but I can't keep pretending this is normal. I can't keep being the invisible one. Grandpa handed me the manila envelope. This is yours. The inheritance, Chloe said. You're going to keep it all for yourself? Yes, it's mine. Because Grandma wanted me to have options, to not depend on people who see me as an afterthought. You're choosing to tear this family apart over money. This isn't about money, Chloe. It's about the fact that I nearly died and you went shopping. She froze. Every time I looked at you, I saw Eleanor judging me, Mom whispered. I know, Mom, but I'm not Eleanor. I'm me. I don't know how to fix this. Neither do I. Not yet, but if you really want to try, you have to get help, a therapist. Work through whatever Eleanor made you feel so you stop projecting it onto me." Mom nodded, wiped her eyes, and left. Dad sat down heavily. "I can undo 22 years, but can I try to do better? Call me next week, ask me how I'm doing, and actually listen to the answer." He nodded, squeezed my hand once. "I will." Then he was gone too. 2 weeks later, I was discharged. The tumor was gone. The doctors called it a miracle. I called it a second chance. I didn't move back home. I used a small portion of Grandma's gift to rent a tiny apartment near the school where I'd be teaching that fall. It wasn't much. 1 bedroom, a kitchenette, a window overlooking a parking lot. But it was mine. The fallout was immediate. Chloe blocked me on every social media platform. Her new bio read, "Some people don't appreciate family." I screenshot it and sent it to Rachel. She sent back a string of middle finger emojis. 2 days later, Rachel called, gleeful. "Tyler heard the whole story from his mother. He's reconsidering the engagement." I didn't feel triumphant, just tired. That's not what I wanted. I know, but still. A week later, I saw the engagement photos had been deleted. Then the announcement itself. Mom texted, "Chloe is devastated. I hope you're happy." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed, "I'm not happy about her pain, but I'm not responsible for it either." Dad called the following Tuesday, right when he said he would. "Hi, Grace." "Hi, Dad. How are you feeling?" "Better. Still tired, but better." A pause. "What did you have for dinner last night?" I almost smiled. Such a small question, but he'd never asked before. "Pasta with Rachel. That sounds nice." It was awkward, stilted, but it was something. For now, it was enough. 3 months later, I was standing in my new classroom. 26 eighth graders would be arriving on Monday. Rachel was helping me hang posters, or rather criticizing my poster placement while eating my chips. "A little to the left," she said, mouth full. "No, your left." "I don't know why I keep you around." "Because I'm delightful and you love me." I couldn't argue with that. My phone buzzed. "Grandpa, how's the setup going?" "Almost done. Are we still on for dinner Sunday?" "Wouldn't miss it. Your grandmother would be so proud, building your own classroom, your own life." "Grandpa, I wish I'd known her." "You would have loved each other." Speaking of which, I found something. A letter she wrote before she passed, addressed to my future granddaughter. What does it say? That's for you to find out. I'll bring it Sunday. After he hung up, I sat down in my teacher's chair, the one I'd use every day for the next school year. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. 1 month later, a knock on my apartment door. Sunday afternoon. I opened it to find my father standing there, holding a cardboard box. "Hi, Grace." "Dad, I wasn't expecting—" "I know. I should have called. Can I come in?" I stepped aside. He entered slowly, looking around my small but cozy apartment. Plants in the window, photos on the shelf, Rachel at graduation, Grandpa and me at a restaurant. My students' artwork from the first week of school. "You've made this nice." "Thanks," he set the box on my table. "I brought you something." I pulled back the flaps. Inside, photo albums, old books, a hand-embroidered handkerchief. "Grandma Eleanor's things," I whispered. "Your mother was going to throw them out." I couldn't let her. I lifted the handkerchief. Delicate flowers stitched along the edges. The initials ED. in the corner. Dad, I don't know what to say. I know I can't fix 22 years, his voice was rough. I know I failed you in ways that can't be undone, but I wanted you to have these, to know where you come from. I set the handkerchief down and looked at him. He looked older than I remembered. Tired, uncertain. I'm not asking for forgiveness, he said quietly. I'm just asking for a chance to be better. I thought about all the years of silence, all the missed birthdays and empty seats. But I also thought about those Tuesday phone calls, awkward and stilted, but consistent, every single week. Okay, I said finally. Okay, you can try. But Dad, trying means showing up, not just when it's convenient. He nodded. I understand. Do you want coffee? He almost smiled. I'd like that. 6 months after graduation, I was sitting at my desk after the last bell. The classroom was quiet now. 26 chairs, 26 stories, 26 kids who'd come back tomorrow, expecting me to teach them how to find their voices. A knock on my door. Miss Donovan? It was Marcus, one of my quieter students. Can I ask you something? Of course. He shuffled in, 13 years old, always in the back row, rarely spoke up. Did you ever feel like no one sees you? My heart clenched. Yes, I told him honestly. For a very long time, I felt exactly like that. What did you do? I thought about my answer carefully. I found people who did see me. My grandfather, my best friend. And eventually, I tapped my chest. I learned to see myself. That's it? That's a lot harder than it sounds. But once you know your own worth, you stop needing everyone else to tell you. He nodded slowly. Thanks, Miss Donovan. After he left, I stayed at my desk a while longer. On my phone, there was a photo I looked at sometimes. Me at 6 years old, holding my grandmother's hand. Grandpa found it in the box of Eleanor's things. She was smiling down at me, even though she died before I turned one. In this photo, she was looking at me like I was the most important person in the world. I used to think love was something you had to earn, work for, sacrifice yourself for. Now I knew better. Love is who shows up. Love is who stays. And I didn't need to keep setting myself on fire to prove I was worth someone's warmth. I knew my worth now. That was enough. That was more than enough. 1 year after graduation, my phone rang while I was grading papers. A number I hadn't seen in months. Chloe, I let it ring twice. 3 times. Then I answered. Grace, her voice was smaller than I'd ever heard it. Can we talk? I'm listening. Tyler left. For real this time. Turns out his family didn't want a daughter-in-law from a family that abandons people in hospitals. I didn't say anything. And I got into some debt. Credit cards. I thought Tyler would help cover it, but she trailed off. Why are you calling me? Because you're the only person who doesn't want something from me. Mom and Dad are furious. They keep talking about how I embarrassed them. My friends only liked me because of Tyler's money. Part of me wanted to say, now you know how it feels to be alone. But that wasn't who I wanted to be. Chloe, I'm sorry about Tyler. I'm sorry you're hurting. But I can't fix this for you. I can't pay off your debt or make Tyler come back. That's not my role anymore. Silence, then. Why did you answer? Because you're my sister, and I wanted you to know that I don't hate you. She was quiet for a long moment. I was terrible to you. Yes, I don't know why. I never had to try. Everything was always handed to me. And you worked so hard, and I think I was jealous. Can we ever be okay? I thought about it. I don't know. But if you're willing to do the work, I'm willing to try. 2 years after graduation, I was sitting in a crowded auditorium. The banner read, Community Educator of the Year Award. Grandpa Howard was being recognized. Rachel was beside me, dressed up for once. I can't believe he's finally getting recognized. He deserves it 10 times over. The announcer called his name. The crowd applauded. Grandpa walked slowly to the podium, 80 years old but still standing tall. He adjusted the microphone, scanned the audience, until his eyes found mine. Then he smiled. Thank you for this honor, but I want to dedicate this award to someone else. My granddaughter, Grace. My breath caught. 2 years ago, I watched this young woman collapse on stage at her graduation, a brain tumor. She nearly died. And she woke up to find that the people who should have been there weren't. But Grace didn't give up. She didn't become bitter. Instead, she built a life filled with people who love her for who she is, not what she can do for them. She's teaching now, shaping young minds, showing kids every day that they matter. His voice wavered. Her grandmother, my Eleanor, once told me, the people who are forgotten by the world need us to remember them the most. Grace taught me what that really means. I was crying. Rachel was crying too. Grandpa raised his award toward me. This belongs to you, sweetheart, for having the courage to choose yourself. After the ceremony, I hugged him so tight I thought I might never let go. I love you, Grandpa. I love you too, Grace. Your grandmother would be so proud. I know. I finally know. My family is complicated. It always will be. Dad calls every Tuesday. Mom sends cards on holidays now. Careful, polite. Chloe is in therapy. We text sometimes. But my real family, they're the ones who showed up, the ones who stayed, Rachel, Grandpa, my students. And finally, myself. If you've made it this far, I want to share something with you. I used to wonder why my mother couldn't love me, why I had to work twice as hard for half the recognition, why I was invisible in my own family. Now I understand. My mother wasn't a villain. She was a wounded person who never healed from her own pain. Psychologists call it projection, when someone's unresolved trauma spills onto someone else. She saw her mother-in-law in my face. Instead of dealing with that wound, she let it poison our relationship for 22 years. And me, my weakness was my desperation for approval. I kept believing that if I tried harder, sacrificed more, achieved enough, they would finally see me. That's called people-pleasing. It's a survival mechanism. It kept me safe when I was small. But as an adult, it nearly destroyed me. The brain tumor was the most terrifying thing that ever happened to me. But in a strange way, it was also a gift. It forced me to see my family clearly. It gave me permission to stop performing for people who weren't watching. Your worth was never up for negotiation. You just forgot to look in the mirror. So here's what I learned, and I hope you'll carry it with you. You can't earn love from people who aren't willing to give it. Stop setting yourself on fire to keep others warm, especially when they won't even look at the flame. Your real family isn't determined by blood. It's determined by who shows up when life gets hard. And finally, you are allowed to choose yourself. That's not selfish, that's survival. If you're in a situation like mine, if you're the invisible one, the forgotten one, the one who gives and never receives, I see you. And I hope you learn, like I did, that the only approval you truly need is your own. Thank you for staying with me until the end. If you have your own story, about family, about boundaries, about learning to see your own worth. I'd love to hear it. Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story meant something to you, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories from Winds of Thought. There's another story waiting in the description. Something tells me you'll want to hear it. The people who stay are the family you get to choose. Until next time.